How's it going today, everybody? So glad to see you all here once again. We're gonna go over some more secrets, some more little hidden gems, some stuff that's been scattered throughout some of the episodes lately. If you guys remember last week, I decided to make a video on this specifically for the Master Chief appearance, but I also said I'm gonna make a new video, basically just going over some of the other things that have been hidden through some of these episodes, and hopefully you guys have seen some of them, or maybe kind of noticed them. Now, some of these are actually more bigger hidden secrets than others. Other ones may just kind of be something maybe in the background, or maybe something that was kind of there that you never noticed before. So it's gonna be a little bit of each. So we're gonna start out today. We're gonna start out with the Back to the Future episode, one of my favorite episodes on here, and definitely the most hard work I've done on this channel. But to start off, and this was a lot in the comments, and I've noticed that a lot of you did notice this because again, a lot of these are very quick. They're very sudden. So right here in the beginning, right before the DeLorean shoots off into space for the very first time, you can see in the license plate right there, it says that it's a trap, which is obviously a little head nod towards Admiral Akbar. And that's mostly what some of these hidden gems are. Maybe they're just little things in the background, or maybe something of some writing, or maybe it's more like a joke that's been kind of transferred into like a Star Warsy, you know, mixed parody type thing. And those ones are a little bit more obvious because those are like the big punchline jokes that are in some of these episodes. Take for example the recent Halo and Star Wars episode when Larry and the Master Chief are fighting the grunts. Larry says this line, "Hey, I got one," which is then followed by Master Chief saying,
"Great kid, don't get cocky,"
which was taken from the movie A New Hope when this scene with Luke and Han Solo.
I got him! Great kid, don't get cocky.
So that's one of the more obvious things. Again, when it comes to the jokes, those ones are more upfront and obvious, but you know, that's just a little example I wanted to use. Also, one other thing in the Back to the Future episode, maybe you didn't quite catch, again, this isn't so much of a hidden secret, but it's right there. In the last scene when they're sitting in the diner, you can see that Doc actually has the Death Star plans right next to him, because in the very next scene, he realizes that, oh, he actually did leave him in the diner, and that's why the Death Star blows up later on. Now moving on to the next hidden secret, or I guess you can say it has a little bit more meaning behind it than you may have thought. Going to the very first Death Star office parody video, in the very first scene when Kylo Ren freaks out over the printer, there's a little bit of labeling there on the printer, and they all have a little meaning behind it. In the very bottom of the printer, you can see the letters DS. Now this is a little bit more obvious if you think about it, but the DS stands for Death Star. But if you look a little bit more higher up to the right, you can see the letters AV and then 25. The reason for the number 25 is because that's actually how old I am, or at least that's how old I was when I was making this video. But now moving on to the next one with the one with the Instagram pages and going over all the Star Wars characters. There was a couple of things in there like little head nods or little jokes that maybe you didn't quite catch at the first time. To start off, Lord Vader has the letter 66 at the very end of his profile name. Again, this is another Star Wars reference to Order 66 that was, you know, shown in Revenge of the Sith. And also right before Boba Fett actually shows up on the comments, somebody tags him in there and the name is I Hate Solo. And I give it a few seconds in there to see if you can figure out who it is, which maybe a lot of you probably did, but then of course Boba Fett's profile actually shows up. Now moving on to the next one in the Roger episode. Now I know this is something that a lot of you did catch in the background of the diner scene, but in the very far background you can see a Jawa that's walking by and he has a giant missile launcher. Now this was kind of a head nod actually towards one of my very own videos. That was for the video Jawas blew up the Death Star. And in the cover photo for that video is a couple Jawas and one of them has a missile launcher. I am just now noticing that a lot of these hidden gems are actually at the diner scene. I don't know why, but somehow I just happened to put them all in there. But for the next one, this is referring to the Spider-Man Homecoming movie. And again, like I've mentioned before, I want to keep this a Star Wars channel, but sometimes there's some big things going on and I kind of want to put a little tribute towards it. But anyway, if you do remember what happens in this episode, Batman actually shows up to basically interrupt the day. But right before he shows up, you can see him actually poke his head right outside the window right there. And then just a few seconds later, he drops in and basically interrupts their conversation. Another thing that was in this episode, there was actually another ending clip right after the Larry the Stormtrooper title.
Tell me, do you have ketchup?
Why do you sound so familiar?
And that's just one example, but this actually is something I put in a lot of my videos, so if you watch my videos and you exit out right when you see the Larry the Stormtrooper, wait just a few more seconds, because a lot of times I actually do have a little extra clip at the very end. Moving away from the diner scene, we're going to move on to the next video, and this is a reference to The Last Jedi. This is right after The Last Jedi was released, and also this video idea was actually from the Bombastic channel, so he actually brought the idea to me, and we basically collaborated and made this video together. The idea was that it took 2 years to deliver the lightsaber to Luke because that's how long the movies were apart from being made. And so I threw a nest of porgs right on top of Rey's head to kind of give the indication that it's been a long time. And again, maybe this is something you caught, maybe you didn't, but at the very beginning of the scene, you can actually see that same little nest of porgs that's on the left side sitting on the rock. Now, in one of the more recent videos for the How to Drive the AT-AT Walker, there was a couple reasons I made this episode. One, I just really wanted to. I thought it would have been funny, but I had tons of comments of everybody wanting Lonny back because they really liked the character of Lonny when he first appeared. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna find a way to bring him back. There were some people that were offended by it, and I understand, but I also just want to kind of clear the air that I have nothing against Canadians or anything like that. I actually think Canada itself is really cool. I have not ever been there, so it is a little hypocritical to say, but I really actually do want to visit there because it definitely seems like a place that would be fun to go visit. But moving on to the next little hidden secret in this episode, there's a little scene there where it shows that the AT-AT actually has a license plate on the back, and there was a couple different things in there. On the very top, of course, it says Galaxy Far Far Away, and at the bottom it says the Hoth system, kind of like the way a normal license plate would work. But then more towards the corner, there's actually a list of numbers right there, and there's 6 different numbers. Now this is one that I'm not actually going to give everything away, but personally to me, these numbers actually mean something to me, and I'm guessing maybe after looking at it, you might be able to kind of figure out what it is. I'm not going to fully unveil what that is, maybe more towards the future I will, but I'm going to keep this one a little bit more of a secret still. I will tell you right now though that this actually is not a reference to my birthday because that would be ridiculous because that means I would have been born just a couple years ago. But I will tell you though right now that there actually is one episode where my birthday actually does show up for a little bit in a quick scene. I'm not going to tell you exactly which episode, but I will say this episode was mentioned today. And I will admit, sometimes I throw things in kind of last minute as I'm creating them, so I don't really remember every single little hidden gem that I put in these episodes. But the last one I'm going to talk about today is going to be for the Welcome to Larry Stormtrooper video. Now this is just a video that's on the main page, of course, to basically intro to anybody who's coming to the channel who's new. Now you may have noticed this, you may have not, but way back when I first made this video, the cover for that was actually different. At the time of making this, it was still a little early. I wasn't really sure exactly what I was doing with this channel, what I was going to be making of this channel, and I was still kind of set on the idea of basically just having a big mix of different themes, and I kind of came more towards the realization that, you know what, I should really just stick with the Star Wars theme, which in most of my latest videos that actually is what I have been doing. But of course, as always, there's going to be a little parody here and there. But at the time of making this, I didn't really have a whole lot of backstock of characters, so what I did was I went ahead and just threw a couple Destiny characters on the backside of Larry right there. And heck, I even remember my first banner that I had on here, I actually had a mix of different characters from movies and video games. But as I mentioned earlier, I kind of came to the realization that I want to keep it mostly Star Wars themed. So because of that, I took that main cover because, again, this is a video for everyone that comes here who's brand new. So I took out the Destiny characters, I went ahead and threw the Scout Trooper and a Death Trooper in the background right there. So that is the new cover for the intro video, which personally for myself, I actually do like that a lot better. However, there is one thing I did leave in there that actually was in the old cover, and that is actually in the very little middle there, in that little corner, there actually is a little Groot. And you can see him right there. He was in the old cover, and I just couldn't get myself to take him out of there just because I thought, oh, he's so small, and I just thought, hey, it'd be kind of cool, you know, later on, make a video like this to kind of unveil, hey, he's been there the whole time. But for today, guys, that's pretty much all I could find, everything I can go over, so I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if there was something that kind of popped out to you that you really liked about some of these little hidden secrets throughout some of the episodes. I would definitely be really interested to see if you had seen these before. So again, put those in the comment section. Of course, if you have not yet, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.